You've felt it, haven't you? The silence, the distance, people slipping away without reason, doors that once opened easily now locked, spaces that once felt like home now echo with emptiness. You're not imagining it, and you're not cursed. You're being called. Carl Jung believed that before transformation begins, the old self must dissolve, not just mentally, but emotionally, energetically, relationally. The universe doesn't always push you forward with blessings. Sometimes it pulls everything away, so you have no choice but to turn inward. This is not rejection, it's redirection. It's the sacred chaos that prepares you to become someone your past can't recognize. At first it feels cruel. People misunderstand you. You feel abandoned, unseen, stripped of the life you worked so hard to hold together. But what if that collapse isn't a punishment, but an initiation? The universe knows what you're about to become, and before the seed becomes a tree, it disappears in the dark. This video is not about fixing the silence. It's about understanding it, honoring it, and walking through it with the quiet knowing that when the universe isolates you, it's because something sacred is forming within you. So if you've been wondering why everything feels like it's falling apart, stay, because you're not being broken, you're being rebuilt. And the loneliness is just the echo before the emergence. Phase 1. The isolation begins. When your soul can't pretend anymore. It doesn't start with a dramatic collapse. It begins with a quiet ache, a subtle misalignment, a growing sense that you're playing a role you can no longer bear. Conversations feel empty. Relationships feel scripted. The laughter, the routines, the "I'm fine" all begin to crack. Carl Jung taught that the psyche initiates transformation when the false self becomes unbearable. This is the beginning of individuation, the painful birth of the authentic self through the death of the persona. At first you try to fix it. You reach out more. You push yourself to reconnect. You blame yourself for feeling distant, but something deeper in you knows. This is not depression. This is awakening. The soul no longer wants to wear the mask, and as you begin to peel it off, life starts peeling away everything attached to it. People start pulling back, plans fall through, you feel like you're drifting, but what's really happening is that you're being freed from the version of you that knew how to please, but not how to breathe. You're not isolating yourself. You're being isolated by something wiser, something invisible that knows what's coming. And even though it hurts, even though the silence grows louder each day, you are not lost. You are shedding. And this first phase of isolation is not the end of your connection to the world. It's the beginning of your connection to yourself. Phase 2. The universe removes everything that was built on a false version of you. Suddenly things start falling apart. The job you once called your dream starts to feel like a cage. The friendships you thought were unbreakable begin to fade. The life you built with such effort feels hollow, foreign, like you're walking through someone else's story. Carl Jung understood this collapse as part of the sacred dismantling of the false self. What no longer aligns with your truth will start to fall away. Not because you failed, but because you outgrew the illusion. It's painful, because these were the structures that gave you a sense of safety. The titles, the routines, the people who knew how to love the version of you that was never fully real. You may feel like everything is crumbling, but what's really happening is this. The universe is removing everything that was built on a foundation of compromise. The house that was never a home, the role you learned to play to be accepted, the dreams that were borrowed, not chosen. They can't come with you, not where you're going, and so, one by one they fall. You may try to hold on, to patch the cracks, to resurrect what once comforted you. But the more you resist, the more it hurts. Because this isn't punishment, it's purification. What collapses now makes room for what is true. And though you can't see it yet, this deconstruction is a sacred preparation, because only when the false is stripped away can the real begin to rise. Phase 3. The void appears, so you can finally hear yourself. After the noise fades, comes the silence. Thick, heavy, deafening. There are no more calls, no more invitations, no more distractions to keep your mind occupied. It feels like abandonment, but beneath that feeling, something deeper begins to stir. Carl Jung taught that in the absence of external identity, we begin to reconnect with the unconscious, the hidden core of the self that only speaks in silence, symbols, and sensation. This is why the universe pulls everything away, so that finally you can hear what's inside. At first it feels unbearable. You crave noise. You miss the chaos you once resented. You would do anything to feel normal again. But eventually, you stop running, you stop scrolling, you sit. And in that sitting, in that stillness, something sacred happens. The voice within you, the one you've ignored for years, starts to whisper. It doesn't speak in logic. It doesn't rush. But it tells the truth. It says, you were never meant to live disconnected from yourself. You were never meant to survive in a world that asked you to betray your own soul to feel accepted. In this void, you begin to feel not just the pain, but the longing, the wisdom, the remembering. This is the birthplace of clarity, not given from the outside, but born from within. And that's why the universe allows the void, not to punish you, but to finally bring you home. Phase 4. The loneliness forces you to face what you've always avoided. There comes a point in the silence when you can no longer distract yourself. There's nowhere left to go, no one left to perform for, no external chaos to drown out the internal truth, and so you meet yourself, not the version the world knows, not the version you carefully curated, but the raw, unfiltered, unfinished you. Carl Jung taught that true healing begins with the confrontation of the shadow, the hidden aspects of the psyche we reject, deny, or bury. And the universe, in its wisdom, isolates you so you finally stop running. You face the grief you never processed, the anger you swallowed to keep the peace, the patterns you've repeated without understanding why. It hurts, because now there's nothing to protect you from your own reflection. But this pain isn't here to destroy you, it's here to free you. You begin to see the truth beneath your coping mechanisms, the fear beneath your need to be liked, the wounds beneath your constant striving. And instead of judging it, you start to hold it. You feel what you never had time to feel. You name what was once too dangerous to say. And in doing so, you reclaim parts of yourself you didn't know you lost. This is not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough, a sacred reckoning between who you were taught to be and who you actually are. And though it may look like loneliness from the outside, inside, something sacred is unfolding. Integration, the return of all your lost pieces, not to perfection, but to wholeness. Phase 5. The transformation isn't visible, but it's happening within. No one claps. No one notices. There are no milestones to post, no applause to collect. But deep inside, something is shifting. You feel it in the way you breathe differently, in the way your body no longer tenses in old situations, in the way your silence now holds more clarity than your words ever could. Carl Jung believed that all true transformation begins in the unconscious, long before it reaches the surface. What the world calls stagnation, the soul calls initiation. On the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. Your life may feel still. Your path may seem unclear. Your progress may feel invisible. but the seed doesn't look like a tree. And what's happening in you now is not meant to be seen. It's meant to be lived. You're shedding old belief systems, rewriting stories that were never yours, breaking ancestral patterns silently, in your own body with no witnesses. That's power, not the loud kind, the sacred kind, the kind that doesn't ask for proof because it feels the truth rising from within. You're learning to trust the invisible, to walk with what can't yet be explained, to honor the journey even when there's no map. And in doing so, you're not just transforming yourself. You're transforming the entire field around you, even if they don't see it, even if they never know. Because healing doesn't ask for recognition. It only asks for your presence. And you now are more present than ever before. You weren't abandoned. You were anointed. You weren't forgotten. You were being formed in silence, in stillness, in sacred discomfort. Carl Jung believed that before the self can emerge, everything false must dissolve, and sometimes the most compassionate thing the universe can do is strip away what no longer fits. Even if it breaks your heart in the process, now you see why everything fell apart, why the people left, why the dreams unraveled, why nothing made sense for a while, because your old life couldn't hold your new light. The silence wasn't empty, it all was full of truth, full of realignment, full of the energy required to rebuild you from the inside out. You were never being punished. You were being prepared for deeper love, for clearer purpose, for truer connection. And now, slowly, quietly, fully, you're rising, not with noise, but with knowing. You've met your darkness. You've touched your wounds. You've made space for your soul to lead, and in that space, something irreversible has happened. You've remembered who you are. So if this message found you in the middle of your isolation, if it gave voice to something you've been feeling but couldn't explain, write in the comments, "I accept the isolation of my rebirth." Let those words mark the moment you stop resisting the silence and start honoring what it's birthing, because the universe isolates the ones it's about to transform. And now, you are ready.